Hi, I'm Daniel, and Over the Garden Wall was a Cartoon Network miniseries that is less than 2 hours in total. It tells the story of two half-brothers, Greg and Wirt, stuck in the unknown. Place that's full of weirdness and atmosphere. The animation is very stylistic with the use of certain autumn colors. Show is partially Halloween-like, which is why I made this video in October. This is a great miniseries. Maybe not amazing, but I noticed you have more details on this rewatch and made me like it more. This video, I will rank the episode of Over Garden Wall. It's very short for a ranking all episodes video, but I'm still doing it. This video won't include your spoilers, so I recommend watching the miniseries if you haven't already. So, what are the worst and best episodes? 10. Schooltime Follies. About half of the episodes are one-off stories to build atmosphere or just waste time. And Schooltime Follies mainly feels like a waste of time, with the story of a school. It is agreed to be the worst episode, and I agree, but I don't think it's bad. I like how the story only starts with Beatrice called Word real following, so he follows a reveal given to him just to annoy her. Potatoes and Molasses is also a good song. This episode has flaws and adds very little, but has some fun moments. 9. Songs from the Dark Lantern. This also has your favorite songs, but I don't mind. I like the overall mood of this show's soundtrack. The Highwayman song, Heteronormative song, and The Beast Out There have a good tune. There's also a good setup here. Everyone in the tavern has a label and Wirt doesn't know who he is yet. This is something you might forget if you haven't watched the show in a while, but the Beast wasn't even mentioned in episodes 2 and 3. It sets up the mysterious terror of the Beast concept. Most of it is pointless songs by annoying characters, but it's fine. So, this episode introduces Fred the Horse. 8. The Ringing of the Bell. This is another one-off, but it's done more for a serious story. This episode does have a good story with a well-thought-up twist, and it works out following up the previous episode's reveal. Meg and Wirt have nowhere to go now. The problem I have is the pacing and how they have no plan for it at all. It also barely stands out, and if you've been through this whole show in one sitting, I can imagine this episode may be forgotten. 7. Hard Times to the Husking Bee. This is the second episode that has Beatrice join the group, leading them to Adelaide. This pure has them find the town of pumpkin people, where they are really skeletons dressed up as pumpkins. This episode isn't that important, but has a great atmosphere to it. This episode in particular has a great colour scheme to it. 6. Babes in the Wood. This episode does have your weird imaginary scenes that gave me flashbacks when I watched all the Disney package age films. It looks like something out of one of the music ones. However, it has purpose to contrast the rest of the episode. The opening shows Werther gave up hope while Greg stays positive. The ending has Greg get given a wish. I don't know why they didn't just wish that he never went to the unknown. To be fair, Greg is just a kid so maybe didn't think of that. And there might be a fine print for what you can and can't wish for. Instead, he sacrificed himself so Wirt doesn't become to the beast. This isn't changing the tone for the last 2 episodes. This episode really helps show the character of Greg. I understand why some may rank it lower, but I can get past the dream for the great start and end. 5. The Old Grill Mist. This is the first episode, and it was way better than I remembered it to be. Just throws into the ball without much introduction. It has the intro song that is one of the best moments of the whole show. There's so much set up in that song, and I wish it were for every episode. It makes sense that the audience would pick apart each individual bit. This episode immediately introduces the dark atmosphere of the boys being lost in a place hard to understand. Woodsman is a great character, and it's unclear if he can be trusted. Also, Greg provides a good comedy to contrast the tone. The actual plot of the dog isn't that interesting. The Old Girl Mist is definitely a strong first chapter. 4. Yoyabai and Frogland. The plot is just that they are on a boat with frogs. This episode is great. Especially in music, there's multiple great songs in the episode. The Over the Garden Wall song is probably the best in the whole show. This is all fun, but Beatrice is there to remind us that things aren't going well. We find out in the reveal that Adelaide actually wants his servants in exchange for turning Beatrice's family human again. Beatrice ends up refusing to turn them in and defeats Adelaide, but Wirt doesn't know that, thinking they were betrayed. The end scene is great, but the rest is too. You're buying Frogland is easily one of the better episodes. 3. Mad Love. This is the best one-off story by a mile for how great the comedy is. The main plot is full of comedy. Like Fred the Horse's free will, he can do whatever he wants. I wanna steal. This is the funniest episode of the show, but it gets an development of Wirt and Beatrice in a side plot. There's also a pretty interesting twist that is more comedic, but works at the ending. I don't have that much to say about this episode, so I'll just move on to the last two. 2. Into the Unknown. This episode is a flashback that wouldn't have had that great an effect if it was episode 1. After watching 8 episodes of them in this unknown place, seeing them in the human world is so satisfying. I remember the first time I watched it, I was in silent shock for just 2 minutes. It being Halloween makes things make a lot more sense, and then going over a war explains the title. The real great thing of this episode is exploring Wert's insecurities. Built up Jason Thunderberg, yeah, he was an alpha and he had no chance. But Jason is just some guy, and people actually like Wirt. The human world makes for good comedy. A lot of people argue this episode breaks the pace, but I really like the backstory setting up the brothers' relationship and how they got there, before seeing how it ends. On The Unknown, an amazing funny episode with a dark atmosphere ending every character's story. Jack's sacrifice were kept over, and he has great interaction with the Beast, who is a very mysterious villain. We see a bit more non-silhouette Beast, but not the whys or hows. I think this was a good choice because it causes theories and thinking. He offers like Fegway putting the lantern, and Wirt becomes a new woodsman. Wirt's response just says it's Storm. He shows his skills for how the beast is defeated, figuring out the beast is in the lantern and giving it to the woodsman. The conflict of the woodsman is interesting because he wants to protect the boys from the beast. He tries fighting him and later blows out the candle. Beast using his door to manipulate him is threatening. After this, Wirt wakes up to see them drowning and swims to safety. It's years into question how real the unknown was. Was it imaginary or purgatory out-of-body experience place? Still remember it and grew from it, and it's shown the improved life for people who live in the unknown. The second half of the song Into the Unknown is great for how we see things have changed. The whole miniseries brings up all strange feelings. This episode doesn't even have much happening in, but it's so intense and possibly a perfect finale. In conclusion, Over the Garden Wall is strange and intriguing. Many inspirations come together to make something that feels original. The story has so many turns and mastered the miniseries format, even with the filler. I think any yes or especially any more episodes wouldn't have the same effect. The mystery remains with this setting, but I'm happy with what we got from it. This rewatch made it better. So I realised the best episodes weren't that amazing, and the worst were quite okay. I'm not sure if it's overrated because it is one of the highest reviewed things ever, but it has elements to understand that. This was a shorter ranking, but 2 shows will end as season 3 soon, so I plan to rank the episode of those shows. If you enjoyed this video, consider pressing subscribe and watching my other videos about things like this. The end.